Hello everyone, this is our special broadcast. After years, in fact, over a decade, Tahawwur Rana, a key accused in the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, has entered India and will now be facing the Indian investigators. His special plane carrying Mr. Tahawwur Rana will be arriving in India in just a few minutes. And Indian investigators, remember, took custody of the 64-year-old, and top officials in Delhi held meetings ensuring proper security measures are in place, proper protocol has been put in place for clearly someone who is going to be a high-profile prisoner. Tahawwur Rana, the Pakistani origin Canadian-American wanted for the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, will face trial upon his arrival. It's been 17 years long wait for the survivors and the witnesses of those horrific terror attacks which killed more than 166 people. US authorities handed over custody of 64-year-old Tahawwur Rana on Tuesday night in California to the National Investigation Team, who are bringing back the mastermind on an Indian plane to India. The plane is expected to arrive in New Delhi any moment now. Rana, remember, has fought a lengthy legal battle. We have Anushka joining us from the Palam Airport, Technical Airport. That's where the special plane will arrive any moment. Ghazali is covering the investigation, and he joins me from outside the NIA office here in Delhi. We have Radhika joining us from outside Taj Hotel in Mumbai. We also have Saurav covering the story closely. I'm going to begin with you, Anushka. Give us the details. You know, all eyes will be on as to when the plane will arrive. Perhaps you would not know that. But the question is, who all are present there to take the custody of Tahawwur Rana?
That's right. In a short while, Tahawwur Rana will be walking on the Indian soil. After 17 years of long battle, he had exhausted all of the legal options, and now he will be in fact facing trial in India in a few short hours. His special flight will be landing on this very airport. Let me get you some visuals also from here. The Delhi police, the SWAT team, everything has been in fact put in place. Multi-layered security has been in fact put in place. Rana will be taken under the security cover of SWAT commandos from Delhi Police Special Cell. The SWAT commando had reached the airport in the morning. Several Delhi Police vehicles will escort Tahawwur Rana's convoy. Tahawwur Rana will travel from airport in a bulletproof vehicle. Now remember, he will be in fact traveling via the marksman vehicle, which is highly secure and resistant to any kind of attack. The Special Cell mostly uses these kind of vehicles to transport high-risk terrorists and gangsters to courts and agency office. After he will be landing here, NIA will first legally arrest him in connection with the case registered over 26/11 attacks. Then a medical test will be conducted at the NIA headquarters. After that, Rana will be produced in court and his remand will be sought, which is quite an important procedure for the NIA. The court appearance may happen via video conferencing. After Rana is taken off the plane, he may be transported in a bulletproof vehicle. Now, in view of high-profile case of Tahawwur Rana, Delhi Police SWAT team is here. The team of NIA team has been deployed outside the NIA headquarters as well. In addition, personnel from Delhi Police and CRPF are stationed outside NIA headquarters. Tahawwur Rana will be straight away taken to the NIA headquarters under heavy security. Now, not just this, he will be in fact also taken to all of the places under multi-layered security. Remember, this after 17 years long battle, he will be walking on the Indian soil. It's a big day for Indian diplomacy, for the people who were in fact the victims of the 26/11 attacks. He will be coming here to face trial for his involvement in the attacks. He was providing logistics and financial support to David Headley, who is one of the main accused. Now remember, 10 names were given by David Headley. 7 of them are right now in Pakistan. David Headley himself is serving a 35 years old life prison term in US, and Tahawwur Rana will be landing shortly in India. The NIA and also multi-agency of India will be investigating him on this whole 26/11 matter.
Along with 3 intelligence officials in fact, went to the United States to get the custody of Tahawwur Rana. What sources are telling us is that Delhi Police Special Cell has been placed on alert and SWAT commandos have already been deployed at the airport. So all measures being taken to ensure that Tahawwur Rana, as soon as he arrives in India, arrives at Palam Technical Airport, is taken to the jail, and then the investigation begins. Before I bring in other reporters, I want to get a word from Radhika, who has been speaking to the survivors. Radhika, 17-year-long wait, and finally Tahawwur Rana is here in India. It is a big day for the families. But the question is, will it really ensure closure?
Absolutely, Maria. It is a big day as far as Indian agencies are concerned. But certainly, as you said, this is a big day for families of those who lost their loved ones, victims of 26/11. Of course, we've been speaking to victims, survivors of 26/11 since day one. Every year when 26/11 Tribute Day happens, once again, all of these victims and survivors relive that horror, relive those horrors of 26/11, speaking about what they lost, speaking about how they survived, speaking about how, in the face of adversity, there was stories of courage and resilience that they witnessed on that day. So it, in a way, brings forth the fact that it is a story of resilience, and also the fact that Mumbai, in a sense, represents, unwavering faith as well as resilience. And the spirit of Mumbai is what we saw during 26/11. Of course, I am at Taj Hotel. This is representative of the grim, images of that fateful day. But it is also representative of the fact that, people were united. There were people who were helping each other out, the staff members who sacrificed their lives, NSG commandos, including Sandeep Unnikrishnan, who laid down his life to save a lot of people. Of course, 30 lives were lost, Maria, in these attacks right here at Taj. In total, 166 lives were lost. As far as what many of these survivors have been telling us, yes, this is one step close to justice. Yes, this is one step close to some sort of closure that they've been seeking for years together, for more than 17 years. But the fact remains that this is just tip of the iceberg. Only one person has been tried, which is Ajmal Kasab. He was tried. He was the lone terrorist who was caught, and then, of course, he was hanged to death. But what about the big fish who have been charge-sheeted in the case? Be it Hafiz Saeed, be it Lakhvi, and of course Tahawwur Rana, for whom the Indian agencies had been trying to get a hold on. It's been close to 17 years, and now is when they're finally getting a hold of this man who is the key conspirator. So yes, in a way, justice is served, but many more big fish to be caught, many more information to be unraveled and unfolded in the days to come. Perhaps, the role of Pakistan, the role of ISI, the role of Pakistan Army, LET operatives, who the actual financiers were, who the other planners were, who other conspirators were, all that could be clear when Tahawwur Rana is questioned and interrogated for the first time by the Indian agencies on Indian soil. So yes, it is a sense of justice for people. It is a sense of relief for those who survived this 26/11 attacks, and certainly a big, big win for Indian agencies. But the next few days, next few months, certainly important, as far as the entire 26/11 case is concerned. There have been multiple charge sheets filed, roles of Tahawwur Rana, David Headley, all of it is clear, during the deposition of David Headley himself, the way he's named this man, Tahawwur Rana, and how his travel was facilitated by David Headley, how he gave him the front for his operations in the city of Mumbai and in several parts, and how he scouted these areas. So all that, the details of every intricate details of how it was planned, who were the other people behind this conspiracy, all of that will become clear. Several revelations will come to fore once this man is questioned by the NIA and perhaps by the Mumbai police as well.
Right, Radhika, as you were pointing out, the charge sheet of the National Investigation Agency had in fact said that Rana provided logistics, financial and other assistance to David Headley and others involved in this entire plot of terror attacks in India. Let me bring in Ghazali now. Ghazali, On Wednesday, there were several crucial meetings that were held. You had External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Home Minister Amit Shah hold that meeting, where National Security Advisor was in attendance as well. What is the nature of preparation which is being put forth by the NIA right now? You know, perhaps in the next few minutes is when Tahawwur Rana arrives in India.
See, I'll just try to show you the preparations here. I'll ask my camera person to show you. This is the NIA office behind me, and this entire road has been barricaded. The security has been beefed up in and around the entire NIA office here in Delhi. The bigger question now is that Tahawwur Rana is said to be the mastermind of 26/11 attacks. He has faced conviction in US as well, and he was the one who gave a front through his immigration office in Mumbai to get the David Coleman Headley to enter India. And they both had spoken multiple times, as per the NIA dossier, that before the Mumbai attack they were in constant touch, not just with each other but with their local handlers even in India. The bigger challenge for NIA would be to break down, to get those details, because he is a hardened, we can say, conspirator. He has been under investigation by the US authorities as well for as many years in the last 1 decade since his arrest. Now, Indian agencies will certainly find it challenging to get more details, because agencies believe that perhaps he can also mislead them. Before the Mumbai 11 attack, he also had visited multiple cities in India. So the basic challenge and aim of this entire investigation would be to find out who were his local handlers here, what were other attacks, because the dossier also says that not just the Taj Hotel in Mumbai and other places where the attack took place, Tahawwur Rana and David Coleman Headley had done a recce of other locations also across the country. The involvement of Pakistan has been well established even before his arrest or his extradition, but his investigation and his testimony will certainly cement the case of terror which we always charge Pakistan for. At global level also, it will be a kind of a moral victory for India to place and to show that how Pakistan has been constantly backing non-state actors to push terror on Indian soil.
All right, Ghazali, thank you so much for joining us. And joining us now on this special broadcast is our senior managing editor, Nikunj Garg. Nikunj, a quick word also now from Saurav, who joins us. But before that, perhaps you will have the answer to the question which is on everybody's minds. What time is Tahawwur Rana, that plane, that special plane carrying Tahawwur Rana arriving in Delhi?
Well, Maria, I've been actually in two minds. I've been trying to push my sources, and then I'm stopping midway. Because ultimately, look, this is the moment of ultimate justice. This is not a moment. I don't want to be triumphant here. I don't want to be jubilatory here. This is not a moment of jubilation. You know, I have a very strong association with this story.
Yes.
I remember that night, I was at a public function when my office, which was then headquartered in Bombay, in Mumbai, started to call me in panic. In panic means in panic. There were reports of firing, or there were reports of multiple unauthorized explosions from various places in the city. And for a moment, my assignment desk also, which is, as you know, in television, the first responder to any kind of evolving situation,
yes,
could not understand. Their immediate response was it a gang war? This. It took me some time to calibrate my answer, and then I told them that it cannot be a gang war. So from those days, I remember traveling to the United States of America with the then Home Minister, Mr. P. Chidambaram, in 2009. For the first time, India presented its case to the United States of America around 10 months after the attack took place. Mr. Chidambaram was there. He met the then Director of Federal Bureau of Investigation, Leon Panetta. I was there covering that visit, met a series of ranking officials myself. Some of them came to meet Mr. Chidambaram at the Willard Hotel where he was staying, and some of them he paid a visit. Today is the day, ultimate culmination of a very dogged fight which governments have shown in this country, and India has been able to send a resolute message across to the world, and that resolute message is that if you mess up on Indian soil,
yes,
if you target Indians or anyone on Indian soil, you will not go scot-free. The long arm of the law will eventually catch up with you. I am personally privy to the fact that Indian establishment is extremely cut up, extremely angry, unhappy by the fact that Dave Coleman Headley was allowed to, in a way, escape from the clutches of Indian law. The Americans, despite knowing his involvement in the attack, allowed him to come back to America and arrested him at Chicago's O'Hare Airport when he was planning another attack in Denmark, and did not allow us his custody transfer. However, as I said, that where we started from, that I've been stopping short of pushing my sources to ask them for the precise moment of arrival. Maybe sitting here with you in this studio, the enormity of this moment now dawning on me, I'll again try that.
Yes, but the larger question certainly is that as someone who has tracked this story for 17 years, tracked all aspects of it, tracked the fact that the NIA actually ensured a watertight case, pushed for extradition of David Coleman Headley. There were several setbacks, and finally this moment is arriving. Do you think it is closure, and it is closer to justice?
I think it is closer to justice, Maria. That is the most appropriate way to put it. It is not closure yet. It is not closure yet because, in my mind, unless each and every mastermind of this strike, which I have always been maintaining, was actually carried out by the Pakistani army, Lashkar only acted as a front. It was the Pakistani army from the word go that planned, financed, trained, and finally executed on our soil this terror strike. Unless each one of those Pakistani commanders, Pakistani military commanders, the perpetrators of Mumbai 26/11, are brought to justice and are made to face justice on the Indian soil, there would not be a complete closure. But unfortunately, the times that we live in, and unfortunately the international law that binds us, is something that we all have to live with. But one only hopes and pray that each of those people are served justice cold as the cold-blooded murder on the streets of Mumbai, and that day would be closure. But today we are a step closer for sure, and as I said, that the dogged pursuit, remember the National Investigation Agency was not there when this attack took place.
Yes, tell us about that. At that time, I believe it was NSG only.
Yes, the arm of Government of India fighting those terrorists was the National Security Guards.
Okay.
The arm that began to probe this case was the Central Bureau of Investigation and Mumbai Police. I must at this moment again go back and say that the role of the Mumbai Police must never be forgotten in this terror strike. It should never be, it should never be seen as something that was on the sides or the fringes. They were the main counter-terror fighting force. Right in the very beginning, at the heat of the moment, they were the first responders, and then for a very long time they carried on with that strike. Initial cases were probed by them. They did the investigation. Their officers made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of their duty. Many senior officers, including the then chief of the ATS, lost their life on the streets of Mumbai fighting that entire Tukaram Omble, a man without whom the entire Pakistani conspiracy could not have been nailed within a matter of few hours. His patriotism, his sense of duty, his commitment to the job and commitment to the city of Mumbai and Mumbaikars can never probably be extolled enough, can never probably be explained to the world at large. But yes, the National Investigation Agency, as we come back, came into existence much later. Government of India brought in a special bill. There was an all-party consensus. Remember, it was one of the few rare occasions when I attended that whole session in the parliament. There was a rare all-party unison voice of unity saying that there should be a pan-India anti-terror probe agency. And for the first time, India, remember, India prior to that did not have a pan-India anti-terror law. Yeah. And that law in terms of UAPA first, and then NIA's mandate came into being post-Mumbai 26/11 because it was always treated as a state subject till that point in time. So there was a rare unity in the parliament. That bill was presented by the then Home Minister, Mr. P. Chidambaram. Shivraj Patil obviously had to resign in the wake of all these attacks. And each and every party, including the BJP, which was the principal opposition party at that point in time, supported the government wholeheartedly, and that's how NIA was born.
Yes. So we'll try and get more details because, this is like a first-hand storytelling which is playing out here on NDTV, where Nikunj had covered that story very closely in 2008. And ever since, tracking the development following the NIA closely till Chicago and also to California. Let me bring in Saurav now on this broadcast. Saurav, I'm sure you know, for Mumbai, the city, it means a lot. It's a city which has been bruised. It is a city which needs that closure. You have been speaking to survivors, eyewitnesses. What do they have to say about this extradition?
Maria, let me just take you through where I am. I'm actually at the Kama and All Bless Hospital, and of course this is one of the sites which was attacked. And the head of the NIA, the current head of the NIA, the DG, Mr Sadanand Date, was here on that day fighting terrorists. He of course was injured in this hospital premises as he was taking on Kasab and his accomplice, who then of course hijacked a police vehicle a little distance down this lane, killed 3 senior police officers like Nikunj was mentioning, Hemant Karkare, the then ATS chief, Ashok Kamte, and of course Vijay Salaskar. He then of course took that vehicle and then they hijacked another vehicle down the road and then of course went all the way to Girgaon Chowpatty, where Tukaram Omble, in an exemplary show of bravery, pinned Kasab down while laying down his life. So that's how the Pakistani conspiracy was of course unraveled. But beyond that, of course, we've seen in these years how there has been an attempt by the government of India to try and get these plotters back. And like Nikunj was saying, it's not closure till you have Zakir Rahman, Lakhvi, Hafiz Saeed. There were also ISI officers whom David Headley mentioned. I remember covering David Coleman Headley's deposition in a Mumbai court, and in that Mumbai court, when he was deposing in that case, he did lay out the details of how he visited the Lashkar camp, how he met these officers, both referring to them as Major, and then of course how he sort of planned this, and Tahawwur Rana facilitated Coleman's visit to Mumbai. David Coleman Headley's visit to Mumbai. He could only come here because Tahawwur Rana provided that cover. The immigration service that Tahawwur Rana ran ostensibly at that time wanted to open an office in Mumbai. That's the cover David Headley used to come to Mumbai. He met some celebrities, of course, and recceed all these areas, chose targets, videographed them, and shared all of that, which made the attack possible. But he wouldn't have been able to come here had he not had the cover and not been constantly in touch with Tahawwur Rana, who also financed all of this. So definitely Tahawwur Rana is one of the key names in this plot, and therefore it's a step towards justice when he comes to India, when he's brought to India after years of legal effort to extradite him to India and make him face trial in an Indian court under Indian law.
Okay, let's bring in others now. In fact, my colleague Anuj spoke to Sadashiv Kolke, who was at the CST station on the day of the attack. Sadashiv was shot at and says he's scared of visiting CST even today. Let's listen in.
The attacks of 26/11 led to the unfortunate death of as many as 166 people, and it also left more than 300 people injured across the state, and a lot of these people across the city. A lot of these people were from different parts of the country, different parts of the world. A few survivors still continue to stay in Mumbai, carrying on their daily chores, and one of them is Mr. Sadashiv Kolke. Now, he is the individual that we spoke to last time around as well, when this entire matter of Tahawwur Rana was gaining prominence. And that is when he showed how he was very positive about the change, optimistic about the change that was taking place. And let us try and talk to him today, on the day of Tahawwur Rana being brought back to India. सदाशिव साहब, आप आपका काम करें, आप सबसे पहले हमें बताइए कि 15 साल हो गए 26/11 के अटैक को, और आप तभी भी मुंबई में थे, अभी भी मुंबई में हो। उस रात को आपके साथ जो हादसा हुआ वो बस हमें थोड़ा ब्रीफली एक्सप्लेन करिए कि क्या हुआ था एग्जैक्टली।
सर, मैं उस दिन मेरा दोस्त को छोड़ने के लिए CST स्टेशन पहुंचा था। रात को 10:30 9:30 पौने 10 बजे का टाइम था। तो हम लोग हॉल में वेटिंग कर रहे थे, तो सामने से अचानक कुछ आवाज़ आया 2-3 बार, तीसरी बार मेरे को लग गया। तो बाद में पता चला कि फायरिंग हो रहा है। तो हम भागने का कोशिश किया, मेरे को यहाँ पे लग गया था। तो मेरे को बाद में पब्लिक ने मेरे को लेके जाके एडमिट किया। सब बाद में दूसरा दिन पता चला कि ऐसा है। फिर मेरे सामने बहुत लोगों को जान भी चला गया था।
आपके सामने?
हाँ, मेरे सामने बहुत लोग गिरे हुए थे। उसी में मैं भी भागने का कोशिश किया, लेकिन बाद में मेरे को भी भागने को नहीं हो गया। पेट में तकलीफ चालू हो गया, अंगार हो गया, ऐसा हो गया। तो मैं
लगने के बाद?
हाँ, ये लगने के बाद तो मेरे को भी चलने को नहीं हो रहा था। फिर मैं पब्लिक ने मेरे को लेके गया। तो बहुत बड़ा हादसा था वो, कि अभी भी या उधर जाएगा तो याद आता है कि डर लगता है। ऐसा सब ये था, इशू था। लेकिन अभी जो जिसको पकड़ा है उसको कसब के जैसा 10 साल 12 साल नहीं रखना चाहिए, उसको तुरंत सज़ा देना चाहिए, फांसी होना चाहिए उसको। बहुत लोग उनका ज़िंदगी ख़राब कर दिया है। अभी हमारा खुद ज़िंदगी ख़राब हो गया है, हम रोड पे धंधा कर रहे हैं, क्या करेंगे।
And joining us now on the special coverage is Rupin Doshi. He is a 26/11 attack survivor. Dr. Soumya Avasthi is a counter-terrorism expert. And we also have Vikram Singh, former IPS officer. Rupin Doshi, I'm going to begin with you as someone who has waited for 11 years for justice, 17 years in fact for justice, 17 years for closure, and 17 years for answers to multiple questions that you've had on your mind. We keep on talking about resilience of a city, but resilience of families who have lost their loved ones. It's been a very, very long wait indeed, sir.
Yes, indeed. Resilience doesn't mean that you keep testing it all the time, either of the city or of a family. We tend to become a little more resilient because of such instances, and nobody really wants to become resilient because of this. Talking about closure, when you lose a dear one or something like this happens, there is no concept of closure. Because as long as terrorism is alive, and the way it looks like it's going to be around for some time now, the closure will not happen. Because when people lose lives, whether my family or somebody else, whoever it is, if people lose lives to terrorism, it's a very, very undesirable and unhappy situation. And if it happens anywhere in the world, that's bad news for us. So people like us will easily identify with any deaths due to terrorism anywhere in the world. So I don't think that concept of closure really applies to us. We are one step closer. I think it's a good job the government has done. We are following the due process of democracy, and we didn't threaten to fight with anybody or bomb any country or do other things. We are not trigger happy, and we are going to spend a lot of money and energy on processing this guy's trial over here, because we have a point to make, right? We want to prove to the world that this is how we are, and we follow the process of what any civilized society will. But having said that, I will not be too unhappy if the government went on the front foot with either security or handling terrorism, or even building up a security mindset. Look at the Israelis, look at the Jews, okay, look at Mossad. I mean, people like us, when these things happen to us, we look up to them. We're inspired by them. You need to invest in intelligence so that you prevent this from happening again. You put in a lot of hardware all over the place, and then you say you're going to prevent another attack from happening. It's not going to happen. It's intelligence which is going to really save you. So as a citizen, I want assurance that this will not happen again. I know the government can't give it in so many words, but at least give me the feeling, create an environment around all over the place that we are secure. The Jews anywhere in the world feel so confident, and if you ever encountered them, you will know that they actually, have that chip on their shoulder, because their country is going to support them. So if we create, and being the biggest victims of terrorism in the world, if we create an environment around ourselves, I think it will go a long, long way in assuaging our hurt feelings.
Mr. Doshi, of course, individuals like you, families have all suffered a pain, suffered something that probably will always remain untold, the large story of it. Because however much people may want to empathize, state may want to empathize, the pain remains within. And as you said that there would never be any closure, it is almost always the case that when a near and dear one goes in a untimely, wanton death, there's never a closure. But let me ask you one question. And that question is that you are talking of a security mindset, you are talking of our city is doing better. We all know, keeping our population in mind, We obviously need to do much, much better than what we are even currently doing. But do you think that in cases of attacks like 26/11 or terror strike or anywhere, look, terror is continuing even today on our soil. Jammu and Kashmir, an integral part of ours, sees a terror strike almost every day, almost every second day. Do you think that the International Committee of Nations also needs to make up its mind once and for all and ensure that this kind of terrorism, remember, look, what we see in Kashmir today will probably never continue if Pakistan stops to play its games. If those machinations stop, the terror in Kashmir will stop. Now, the International Committee of Nations, remember, multiple nationalities, citizens were killed in Mumbai. It was not only just Indians. There were multiple nationalities. So International Committee of Nations also needs to make up its mind. Look, we have been fighting for 17 years now in United States of America. And till this day, as you said, like a civil nation, we have fought our case. But this certainly does not look very well on United States of America. This certainly does not look very well on the world. That a completely convicted terror mastermind, it takes 17 years, close to 2 decades, to bring that man to Indian shores, where he actually committed his offense. So do you think that a time has come that the world needs to focus its energies on the fact that if a terror strike, particularly cross-border sponsored terror strike, takes place, then the entire global voice must unite to punish the perpetrators right from the day one. Yeah. Even today, I get angry by thinking that the masterminds of the Pakistani army, people like Zakir Rahman Lakhvi, Hafiz Saeed, are sitting cozily under the protection of the Pakistani establishment in Pakistan.
Yes, you are absolutely right. The international community needs to get together. But if they don't, then what? Do I just sit pretty? Do I just let them run their number? I need to protect myself, right? So what if we are 1.4 billion? I think we're quite capable of protecting ourselves. So I think we need to run a parallel campaign. We need to invest in hardware. Of course, the government is already investing. I think we need to invest a little more in intelligence. And we need to invest a lot more in diplomacy, which I think this government is doing. And actually prevail upon those. No, some people just can't be convinced. Right? All the major countries of the world today are involved in war and are threatening their neighbors and whoever they don't like. So the world has come to a stage where bread is so dear, but life is so cheap. So if that's the way we are going forward, and remember, in our culture, we are progressing towards Kali Yuga. So tomorrow is going to be worse than today. So if that is going to be the situation, what am I supposed to do? Don't I have the right to defend my family? So whilst I will pursue, diplomacy and trying to convince the others, especially the perpetrators and the financiers of all this terrorism, but I need to arm myself, right? I will arm myself diplomatically, culturally, whichever way. I mean, Pakistan is obviously the base for all of this, all these strikes on India. But we can still play a cricket match with Pakistan, man. Why can't we? We can have cultural exchange. They make good music. We have good dancers. We have culturally we are together. I think if dialogue starts at people-to-people level, all of this will change. And not allowing Pakistani cricketers to play in India and all that, that's political stuff. The common man doesn't really care if Pakistan comes. They're actually happy because we are very, very happy to beat them on our own ground. So I think we need to look at this from the point of view of not barriers set up by politicians or geographical barriers, but like you rightly said, as one world. And that's not going to be easy because of our language, our culture, look at what preeminent position in this world ego has got now. All your major leaders are carrying this big ego on their heads and just doing stuff because of ego. You expect those guys to solve terrorist problems. So I think it's a multi-pronged approach, and it has to be a people-to-people communication and dialogue, and we can move forward. There will be small steps. But see, India is not a superpower, right? Militarily, we are not a superpower. We can't just shoot down people all over the world. We wouldn't want to also, correct? That's not our culture. We don't do that. So I think whilst we pursue that very, very aggressively, and I think Jaishankar and team are doing a fairly good job of that, we need to pursue that aggressively. But imagine if 1 billion singers or dancers were to prevail on 300 million American singers or dancers and say, hey man, stop this.
Okay.
Just see what effect it will have. So I think that will carry a long way, and we're looking for permanent solutions here, not quick fix by governments.
Dr. Soumya Avasthi, a multi-pronged approach is required. A multi-pronged approach has been tried forever by multiple governments. A multi-pronged approach has only worked that far, but obviously, as Mr. Doshi says, it remains our best bet. I completely actually subscribe to almost each word that he has said. But can we do more is the question that will always hang in front of us, needing a very desperate, a very certain, a very critical answer.
Yes, absolutely correct that there is always a scope for improvement and betterment. And with cases like such, which we are discussing today, we need to have a stronger plan and approach so that we can, fight this terrorism from the root. And for that, I think we need to have stringent policies and hard security measures, because it is just not revolving around intelligence gathering and intelligence sharing, but also we need to have better control over our immigration policies, border security, because these things may not directly translate into terrorism, but they are definitely one of the facilitators, because when you have loose immigration policies or loose border security fencing, then these things become easier to be facilitated. So likewise, for the legal and judicial reforms also, I think no matter we are celebrating today that Tahawwur Rana could be brought back to India for giving justice to all the victims of 26/11. But at the same time, we also see that there has been a lopsidedness in our own legal system, because of which there has been certain delays. Of course, there has been a challenge of countering the terror financing, which is the biggest menace in this time and space we are living with use of technology. So keeping in mind all these evolving changes in the methodologies or modus operandi of terrorism, I think multi-pronged approach also needs to be strengthened and has to take into consideration all these developments that are taking place, and how the root cause is not just ideology, but also certain things which is related to the system itself. Because ideology is only expanding because there is a system which is allowing it to expand. So I think when you talk about multi-pronged approach, this is one of the ways to look at it.
All right, we will be shifting across to Deepak Bopanna in just a bit. But before that, I believe, Nikun, you have a question for Vikram Singh.
Yeah, Mr. Vikram Singh is one of the most seasoned campaigners, one of the most experienced policeman, man who has donned many hats, but has also effectively fought terrorism in his various capacities, right from the state police to the Central Armed Police Forces. Mr. Vikram Singh, what are your thoughts this day? What do you think that as a nation we can do to ensure that this fight, we do not have to fight, that nobody is ever able to carry out this kind of a massive, dastardly and state-sponsored strike on our soil? A, and B, what do we do that it does not take us 17 long years to bring this kind of a mastermind back to our soil, back to our country, to face the might of the Indian justice?
So you have to unmute yourself.
Nikunji and esteemed panelists, good afternoon. Thank you for having me on your wonderful platform. I totally agree with every word that Soumya ji and what Mr. Doshi have said, but I have a different perspective. My first point would be that no enemy of India should feel safe wherever he is on the planet, number one. As Mr. Doshi said, if Israel is giving us the best practices, does Mossad allow anyone to breathe in peace, go back to and see the Discovery Channel even rise? No enemy of Israel is safe anywhere in the world. Number two, to every action, there should be equal and opposite reaction. It cannot be that India should be branded as a soft state. There should be consequences for anyone who tries to push us around and breed us the manner in which 26/11 happened. Now, Tahawwur Rana, it happened, of course, because of diplomatic proactive efforts, but it only happened after the government changed in the US and Donald Trump found it important enough to announce it there. But our proactive effort did not bear fruit, and even today, the worst evil, that is David Coleman Headley, continues to be because of plea bargaining in the US prisons. And there is no way that we can get him. The fact of the matter is, I'll give you two examples and then I'll leave the floor for others, that David Coleman Headley had a free access and he was facilitated by the very important film industry personality to move around, and took him around, and he was almost like his local guide. What are we doing about such snakes in the grass? Number two, immediately after the incident, Mr. Doshi and Soumya ji, listen to me very carefully. We tried to recolor it as a saffron terror. What were the compulsions? Is political expediency more important, more significant than nation security? And another word, I may win or lose, but my country should never lose. That should be the sentiment. And such a dastardly act of 166 being butchered, and then you have the audacity to color it a saffron terror for what? For a political victory and a political point. Now, I have to be a general. When I say I, the security system, not only the intelligence gathering, but the proactive and the response mechanism has to be a generation ahead. Equate Hamas with Israel and equate Pakistan with India. The moment, even before you start anything, there should be preemptive response. And this is something that in my own small way, I have ensured. No, make no mistake about it, that he's a Pakistan Army and an ISI, valuable asset. Tahawwur Rana, trained in Hassan Abdal Academy, and Pakistan will always wash their hands of every valuable asset as they have done earlier. They were not going to accept any evidence that we produce. They are going to reject it outrightly. And therefore, there should be consequences not only for the ISI in Pakistan, but for Tahawwur Rana also. But he has to stay alive. Please ensure that there is foolproof and fail-proof security for him, because if he dies, he served the purpose of the ISI and the Pakistan Army and the failed state of Pakistan.
All right, Vikram Singh, Dr. Soumya Awasthi and Rupen Doshi, thank you so much for joining us on this special broadcast. And remember, Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan, his heroic sacrifice during the 26/11 Mumbai attacks continue to inspire the nation. In fact, his bravery in saving countless lives, even at the cost of his own, deserves to be mentioned today. My colleague spoke to his father. Let's listen in.
Tahawwur Rana being brought back to India, how does that make you feel, sir? Considering the fact that he's been trying to seek refuge and stay away from the Indian law and the entire process here.
No, I would say that it is a diplomatic success, but it's a delayed success, of course. And he was in another country, so we had no clue on that. But the problem is that we are giving too much of importance for the diplomatic or political. Hello, are you listening?
Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely.
So we are giving more importance for the afterthoughts or after effects of a diplomatic or a political, success. But in my opinion, everybody thinks that Sandeep is a victim of 26/11. Sandeep is not a victim of 26/11. First of all, I tell you that I have been telling that Sandeep is not a victim of 26/11. Sandeep was a security personnel who has done his duty very well. Yeah. In the face of certain death. That means that was sure that he will not come back. So that is an appreciation. But he was not a victim, first of all. So I am not the first person to comment on anything. Right. Any security person. See, if he had not done here on Mumbai, he would have done in Delhi, or he would have been done in another city. See, that is immaterial. Our main concern should be to prevent such an attack. So to prevent such an attack, so that we can minimize the damage which these people are intending to commit on us. So that is my view.
I think you made a very, very valid point, sir. But also here, like you mentioned initially, there has been a diplomatic process that has been underway for quite some time to ensure that he is brought back now to be tried in the Indian courts. At least does that bring you some level of satisfaction, because he kept evading this, trying to, of course, like you said, seeking shelter in a different country, but now finally being brought back today?
Yes, definitely. That is a success. And also, see, from the point of view, from the general public, that is the Indian public, it is just it is not just a diplomatic thing or anything like that. It is a revenge, you can say that. No, we could hold on, we could get a hold on the culprit.
I would like to ask you, though this may not be seen as a closure for any of the victims, and you, of course, did say that you don't want, Sandeep Unnikrishnan, Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan, to be categorized as a victim. But for many of them who lost their lives, be it at the Taj Hotel or anywhere else, do you feel that, for their families as well, it is something that they will feel happy about, though may not come as a closure as such?
No, it's not a closure. Definitely, we have to get Coleman had leave first. He's the last point or something like that. But why are we not? See, these are all tools actually. See, they are working for money. See, all these people, those who have done at the behest of some agencies in our neighborhood, and also see, the thing is that the brain behind that, who has planned this and then who wanted to do it. So that is more important, and then we could not touch that. With all these evidences, with all these kind of, I cannot say evidence. See, we have proven everything beyond doubt, and then internationally it is recognized also. Still, it is not possible to touch those people, those who have done that. So that is a tragic point. Definitely, for the common man, it is an achievement by India. And even though it is delayed, it is a welcome issue. And also, I hope that everybody will be punished. But the thing is that it is not fully accessible to the law. Right. See, a terrorist or a mastermind behind this cannot be touched by law from a person, even by international law. It is not possible. So that is the saddest point. And if that could be done, so that would have been the best point. But that is not possible. We know that. Everybody knows that. So tell me.
So finally, to the NIA or any other agencies who get involved now in the next process, what would you like to say? Any message that you would like to give out?
No. So I have no doubt that the NIA will take everything with caution, and they will go to every detail. But only thing is that in the case of Kasab, so people were very impatient that he should be hanged, he should not fulfill his last wishes or anything like that. But this is a learned man, not unlike any other terrorist or anything like that. These people are learned people, and they are the brain and tool of the people, those who want it to be done in India. So definitely NIA will go through that, and then they have all the information. They have only things that they were waiting for him. So let us see what will come out of that. Yeah, these people are all learned people, and they have tolerant enough to divulge, not to divulge all the some things which would have happened. See, all those things we know that, but I have no doubt that our agencies are not so bad. They will not delay anymore. But our system, the system of international law is something, so that will delay the process. That's all. But something is better than see what is happening, what was happening all these 17 years.
And Deepak Bopanna, who in fact spoke to Sandeep Unnikrishnan's father, is joining me live from Bengaluru. My son is not a victim. I mean, it requires a lot for any father, any parent to say what he has done, what he has said here, Deepak. He has called it a diplomatic success, but I think that long wait certainly weighing upon him as well.
Well, absolutely, Maria, and what a strong statement, isn't it? That when he goes on to say that, well, he did his job in the face of certain death, and he says that he would have done it anyway, whether it was Mumbai or anywhere else, and that shows, the courage with which Mr. Unnikrishnan and the entire family has been dealing with the situation over the last 17 years. He does say, yes, this is a diplomatic win, but a delayed one, and that's what many of our panelists, of course, have been saying. And we've been discussing about how probably the entire system itself should be changed. He even mentions a very crucial point about how these individuals and who are masterminds are trained in such a manner that even though they're brought to India, now the kind of intelligence that the agencies will be able to get from them, it will be very difficult because of the kind of training that they've received. So it will take a whole lot of effort henceforth as well. But he also does indicate that for many of the survivors, many of the victims, their families, this will come as some sort of revenge, some sort of closure, but not complete closure. He also did, of course, mention this key point that bringing back Coleman, bringing him to a book as well is going to be very important. He even mentions about the kind of evidence that the Indian agencies have about, agencies in the neighboring countries and how they are operating detrimental to the interests of India, but still not much is being done about it. So he has some concerns, and these are some valid concerns, and probably in the days to come, all of this hopefully will be addressed as well.
Deepak, very, very briefly, where you stand in Bangalore, that city is also no stranger to terror. That city, one of our mega cities, one of the cities at one point in time considered the most safe cities in the country, has also been witness to multiple acts of terror. What do you think people's response generally in the city of Bangalore, which as I said is no stranger to terror, has been to this development of final extradition of this terror mastermind from United States of America?
People absolutely find it important to ensure that any of the masterminds in such cases are brought to book, because when they get away, it just emboldens many others. And in Bengaluru, like you mentioned, Nikunj, there are multiple cases of terror attacks, be it the Church Street bomb blast, the very recent Rameshwaram cafe blast. In all of this, the anticipation among the people to ensure that the accused are brought to book was very high. Everywhere we went and spoke to people, all that they wanted was to ensure that the bomber was arrested, the masterminds behind these attacks are arrested. And now with Tahawwur Rana being brought back, it has come as a delight to many people, but everyone has their concerns about how much time it has taken, and that seems to be, of course, a worry, but something that our agencies and governments working together would be able to fix, along with, of course, diplomatic relations with other countries as well.
All right, Deepak Bopanna, thank you for getting us that exclusive conversation, and thank you for a quick update. We are slipping into a short break. This remains our special focus here on NDTV.